Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show. 3, 2, 1, boom!
Oh, yes, Thrive Nation. Welcome back to the conversation. My name is Clay Clark. I'm the former USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year. And Eric Chupp, business coach. What are we talking about today, my man?
Oh, my man. We are going to go over how to determine your weekly break-even and goal achievement numbers.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
Okay, let's do it.
So first off, when you're playing a game, a sport, let's say you're playing basketball. Your kid's playing basketball. You would want to know what your team's score is. If you're on the sideline cheering for a third grade boys basketball game, you would want to know how many points your team has scored, and then you'd want to know how many points that the other team has scored, so therefore you could tell who's winning or not.
Right.
This is one thing about cheerleading that's hard for me because my daughters will perform, and I don't really know whether they did good or bad. Or whether they're winning or losing. And then magically, like 3 hours later, out emerges a second place trophy.
Out of something thin air.
Or a third or a first. I don't know what's happening. But for baseball, basketball, football, these kinds of sports, you can know whether you're ahead or behind.
There's a scoreboard.
Exactly. And so for your business, you have to have a scoreboard. And some of the key numbers you have to have is you have to know how many deals you need, how many customers you need, how many closed deals, how many paying customers, how many whatevers you need to sell just to break even.
It's a big deal.
Now, Chup, you see a lot of business owners.
Yeah.
I know not anybody listening right now, but other people that have no clue how many deals they need to break even.
It's very, very typical to meet with somebody and they're just kind of like, well, I know we didn't lose money last month, which is where a lot of people find themselves, right? You're busy with the day-to-day and you don't have the time or block out the time to go back and review these numbers. And then you're just kind of drifting along hoping that you're making enough money to keep the doors open at the end of the month.
And our whole goal here is to make sure that everybody leaves feeling whole and not full of holes. I never want to talk down or feel like I'm talking down to anybody or patronizing anybody. The whole goal is to coach you up. The word charisma actually comes from the Greek word charisma with a K, charisma, which means the gift of grace. So my entire goal is to coach you up and not talk down to you, but I want to just make sure we're getting this. Chuck, what percentage of the customers that you've worked with as a business coach over the years, or you've seen as a business coach, what percentage of those clients actually know their break-even number on a weekly basis when you first work with them?
What percentage actually know? I would say
by default, they know without your help.
Maybe 2 out of 10, so maybe 20%.
Yeah, and you might have a really great batch of clients you've worked with.
Yeah,
because I've never
even
seen
less.
It. I've never seen it. So what'll happen is the client, it's that are just like a sports team where they're out there playing the game. They're working really hard. They're running up and down the court, going as fast as possible to try to score. But they get down to like the final minute of the game, and they look at their coach and they say, "Are we ahead?
What's happening?"
And the coach goes, "No, we're down by 20." Like,
or the coach goes, "I don't know."
I mean, so it's just a weird deal.
Right.
All of a sudden, at the end of the month, their coach, the end of the game, the coach pulls them aside and says, "Guys, we lost by like 28 points.
Yeah.
And I just want you guys to know that was terrible."
Yeah, we're going to have to change.
And usually the coach is the accountant. You see, the accountant normally says, "You guys lost by like 807 points." And so people don't even know there was a score.
Right.
So what we need to do, Stephen Covey, the best-selling author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he says you want to begin with the end in mind. Okay? Or Jack Welch, the #1 CEO of all time, who grew GE by 4,000% during his tenure, he says you've got to eat while you dream. You've got to deliver on the short-range commitments while you develop a long-range strategy, envision and implement it. The success of doing both, walking and chewing gum, if you will, getting it done in the short range and delivering a long-range plan and executing on that. All right, so here are the specific action steps that you and I and every business owner needs to take to get to a place of clarity in your mind where you know your weekly break-even point and your weekly goal achievement point. And it has to be weekly. You have to do this weekly. This cannot be a monthly. This cannot be a quarterly. It has to be weekly. So here we go. You want to write down on a whiteboard in your office the number of deals you need to break even. So if you're saying, well, I don't know, that's why I'm listening to this. Well, then right now, I want you to get a big whiteboard. Now, Chip, if we want to make our own whiteboard, can you explain how to do that shower board move? Like
yeah, you can go to Home Depot and back in the preformed shower door area of Lowe's or Home Depot, they have these 4x8 sheets of dry erase board. It's not dry erase board, but it works just as good, if not better, and they're about $9. You'd pay typically a few $100s for a whiteboard that size. So awesome business hack. You can go in there, put a little wood, put a little decor around it, and make it look nice.
Let's do this. On the show notes, let's put a link to the YouTube video that shows people how to make a whiteboard. And so after the show, during the break, let's put that on there, Eddie, how to make your own whiteboard. So right now, if you get the whiteboard, and I'm not exaggerating, you need to put the number you need to break even on a whiteboard. You need to do that, okay? And if you don't know, just write a big question mark and put it somewhere where everybody can see it. Chup, why would you want to put the number somewhere where everybody can see it? Well,
this is a super important number. I mean, your cash flow is your blood of your business. And so everybody needs to know. It needs to be top of mind. It needs to be out where it's not some kind of weird strategic mystery that nobody knows what you're talking about. Hey, guys, gals, we got to get this number before we're even making money this month to keep the doors open.
Okay. Now, the second step, again, I know you don't know the number yet, but work with me. The second step is you want to write down on your daily to-do list, the one that you carry around with you all the time?
Oh, yeah.
The number of deals that you need to break even. All right, you need to do this. It needs to be on the whiteboard in your office and on your to-do list. Then you want to write down on the whiteboard the number of deals you need or customers you need to achieve your financial goals. So don't overcomplicate this. We need to put on the whiteboard the number of customers we need to break even and the number of customers that we need to achieve our goals, both on the whiteboard and both on the to-do list.
And this is why that Stephen Covey quote from a minute ago is so important. Begin with the end in mind. If you don't know what these goals are, you don't know what you're working towards, right?
Right. So here's what I want you to do. Now, the next action item is I want you to create a list, okay? Create a list of all of the expenses related to delivering your product or service. Some people would call this the cost of goods. I'm not going to worry about the semantics. I'm saying make a list of all the expenses related to delivering your product or service. So let's say that you're a plumber. What does it cost you for, and we'll put this on the show notes, but what does it cost you for materials, right? The cost of materials. What does it cost in terms of the actual goods needed? What does it cost in terms of labor, right? What's the cost of the labor? What about the cost of driving? What about the cost of insurance? What about the cost of credit card fees? All of the costs related to getting from point A to point B, from delivering the product or service. What are all those costs? Think about those. And this should take you. I have never seen this take less than about a good half hour to an hour to do this.
Yeah.
Because, Chuck, there's so many expenses that people probably have not thought of.
Well, and you got to make sure that this list is complete, right? You can't just go around doing business whenever there's a whole chunk of these variable or cost of goods sold that you're not counting into it. I worked with a client I was going to say probably 2 months ago, and they were just grinding along. They're doing good, but we kind of went through all of these numbers, and we got to the end, and the owner was like, well, I knew I was making money, but they weren't putting in some of those costs, some of those extra costs on those variable prices. And he was like, oh my gosh, we got to raise our prices. And so just seeing the numbers finally after 15 years, okay, let's raise our prices, and now things are going a lot better.
So let me just keep listing them off. Cost of credit cards, the cost of acquiring new customers, like advertising, the cost of taxes. A lot of people don't think about that. They think about, I make $100,000 a year. No, you don't.
Right.
Talked to one gentleman last week who said, I owe $45,000 in taxes. And I said, well, that's what happens when you make $100,000.
Yeah, that's
you want to make sure you understand that the government takes half of that stuff, okay? The cost of taxes, right? The cost of administration, right? These are all things that cost, because if you're a plumber and you have somebody who answers the phone for your plumbing business, and then you deploy a plumber who goes on the job, but someone else answers the phone, somebody's being paid to answer that phone. So what is the cost of that person as it relates to delivering the service? You have to think about all that, okay? What are all of the costs? You got to think about that. Now, the next thing you have to do is you want to create a list of all of the fixed expenses. Now, Chup, can you kind of hit on some common fixed expenses? Some of the expenses that are mostly each month the same.
Yeah, so some of those are going to be like maybe salaried employees, right? They're getting paid no matter what. If we're building products or delivering on a product or service, they're getting paid. Your rent, that would be another one, right? It doesn't matter necessarily how much business you do, but the building and the office or whatever you're in is going to stay the same. So those will be two of the main ones that I see. Your electric bill, just basically these fixed costs are all of the costs that you're still going to have. You're still going to owe this money even if you don't do $1 in business. These are costs that are going to happen every month regardless.
So this could be, I'm just listing off some of these to get you guys going because I know sometimes it's hard to look at a blank sheet of paper and not know where to start. So printing costs, leasing costs, electric bill, phone bill.
The phone bill, that's one.
Water bill. The water bill at the Riverwalk, I always love getting that bill because sometimes the ladies' restroom gets stuck on there at a conference. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I fixed it.
Did you?
I have before, yeah.
Did Vanessa tell you how rowdy the bill got one time?
No.
The bill, our building's like $27,000 a month to be there. And I think the bill one month got to like $1,800 just for the water because that thing got left on.
See what can happen? So you got to be reviewing this stuff.
Printing costs, leasing costs, the electrical bill, the water bill, the phone bill, the internet bill. Think about this: the insurances you've got, all the insurances.
It stays.
You got the insurances. There's a lot of that. Workman's comp. I know it's an insurance, but there's so many insurance. There's so many kinds of fixed costs.
Right
now, after you do all that stuff, what you do now, the cost related to all of your, the cost of delivering the goods, the cost related to actually delivering the product or service. These are costs you only experience if you deliver a product or service. Now that you know that, and now you know your fixed expenses, your coach will work with you to create this thing called a pro forma. And a pro forma is nothing more than a future projection of financial performance based upon previously known factual data.
Right.
So it's where you, based upon knowing this information, then we can make a projection of future financial performance called a pro forma.
And it's an educated projection, right? You're not just kind of pulling numbers out of thin air.
You just have to do this. Now, here's what we got to do. This is where it gets a little weird. You're going to have to make sure that after you know all these expenses, we're going to put here on the show notes that you need to do this, but I just want to make sure you're getting this. You're going to create a pro forma. Now, I know that a pro forma is a vague idea, but the whole point of a pro forma is you want to ultimately know, you want to know from this thing, and Chev will put this on the show notes here, you want to know the profit per customer. And then just put that in parentheses. We want to operate at least at a 30% profit margin if possible. 20 to 30% profit margin. You have to know the profit per customer. Okay, you have to know that. And then you would say, so let's just make it very simple. Let's say that you're all in your overhead, you have to bring in at least $10,000 a month to break even, and your average deal is $500. Then you'd want to say, okay, well, gosh, we're going to have to do at least 20 deals a month to break even. And you have to know that. Then you have to make sure that you know the number of deals you need per week to break even. So you got to break it down into the number of deals you need per week. And I'm telling you, this changes everything in a business once everyone on your team knows this.
Can I tell you something, too? What I've found with working with so many clients through this process is a lot of times we don't want, I don't know if I want to look at this. I've never really sat down.
I don't want to look at it.
But almost every single time, whenever we get through this and it's kind of more of a clear picture, literally just last week, I was working with a guy and he was like, oh, you just wasted my whole weekend. I'm going to be looking at these numbers all weekend, and because he's just excited about them. He knows what's going on now.
You have to know that. And the final thing is you want to know the number of deals you need per week to achieve your financial goals. And I'll just give you an example. With Epic Photography, before I sold the business, I knew that we needed to hit $30,000 a week in sales to achieve my financial goals for that business. And let me tell you what, every Thursday, every Friday, and we were at like 25,000, 26,000, 27,000.
Let's go!
I'm like, come on, let's do it. Let's go. And once you get to 30,000, it's exciting because you achieved your goal. Now, that is how you do it. One of the gentlemen, his name is Bob Healy, came to our conference with a quasi-functional prototype. He had terminal cancer, and Bob came to me and said, help me.
Entrepreneur Clay Clark has built several multi-million-dollar businesses. Now, he helps budding entrepreneurs like Bob turbocharge their ideas with a 14-step plan.
And grillblazer.com is now a massively successful company that's becoming a household name in many American homes.
In this episode, we dive into how to rebuild American small businesses and industrial capacity.
You never want to outsource your core competency. we have to import certain technology from countries that hate us to make military weapons to defend us. That doesn't even make sense.
This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kellick. Clay Clark, such a pleasure to have you on American Thought Leaders.
Hey, thank you for being here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So, this current administration is looking to revitalize the economy, to push it to a next level. And for me, always small business has been a centerpiece of this. It's kind of, some people describe it as the engine of American innovation and growth and so forth. But during the COVID years, just we're emerging out of them as we speak, a lot of small business was frankly wiped out. And you're the guy who's actually helping people kind of build those small businesses. So tell me about what you do.
Well, in America today, we have about approximately 330 million Americans that live here, and we have 9.2 million Americans that identify as being self-employed. And so what happens is somebody out there, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, a plumber, somebody says, I want to start my own business. And when they do, they don't really know the proven processes to start and grow a company. And that's what I do. So I basically take somebody with a dream and I align them with my team and we help them scale something. If you sell something to humans on the planet Earth in exchange for a profit, that's what we help people to scale.
You've structured your business in such a way that it's actually, unless your client does well, it's impossible for you to do well. And I thought to myself, what a brilliant way, what an ethical way to set up a business, because you kind of have no choice.
Well, the word shalom, which Pastor Jackson, I go to Sheridan Church, and Pastor Jackson talks about that word from time to time, shalom. But the shalom is like a win-win. It's a win-win relationship, a mutually beneficial relationship. Napoleon Hill, the best-selling author, Think and Grow Rich, calls it the mutually beneficial relationship. And so what I do when I coach a client or work with a client, I tell the client, hey, look, I'm going to help you grow your business for the smallest monthly fee possible, and I just want to get a small percentage of the growth. Because if I'm getting 1 percentage point of the growth, theoretically you're making 100 times more than I am. But if I can scale multiple companies, it turns out to be a great thing for me. So I've been doing the same thing for 20 years. And so what I'll do is I'll sit down with an electrician, and the electrician will have a business that's stuck. It's not thriving. It's barely surviving, and they go, I don't know how to grow. I don't know if it's marketing. I don't know if it's human resources. I don't know if it's accounting. I don't know if it's pricing. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the economy. How do I grow my company? And I sit down with them and I say, look, we're going to go through a 14-step plan to rejuvenate, to revive, to bring life into your business, and I'm going to get a small percentage of the growth, and you're going to be rich, and I'm going to be doing very well if this works.
How do you actually figure out who you're going to work with? Because with your particular model, it's clear you can't, it's not that anybody who wants to work with you can, because you have to make your decisions about who you think has potential, because you're going to be on the hook for it.
Well, when you got a chance to kind of shadow me a little bit off camera, I do a lot of the video editing myself. I do a lot of the web development myself. I do a lot of the accounting myself. So I'm very much hands-on. And so I like to keep a group of around 160 clients I work with. And I do these free assessments. And the reason why I do a free 13-point assessment is I just want to see, are we going to have a shalom or a win-win relationship? And there's 3 things I'm looking for. Do you actually solve a problem? Or do you provide a product or a service that the marketplace would benefit from? So if somebody's selling something that I think is ethically afoul or against my Christian morals, I'm not going to work with them. So thing number 1 is, do you sell a product or service that I actually think is ethical, legal, that kind of thing? And you'd be surprised how many people are selling illegal things that want help doing it. So step number 2 is, does the person actually identify with the worldviews that I have? If I'm going to sit there and debate about the Constitution or capitalism, that's probably not the thing. So 1 is, do we have a product or service that we can actually help you scale? 2 is, is the person ideologically aligned with me? And then 3 is it realistic? We want to be able to set these SMART goals. I call them SMART goals. They're S-M-A-R-T. I'm quoting Brian Tracy, best-selling author, but a SMART goal is a specific goal. It's a measurable goal. It's something it's actionable. You can actually take action and do it. It's realistic and it's time sensitive. S-M-A-R-T. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it actionable? Is it realistic? Is it time sensitive? Because if I can help somebody grow a company and I can see a clear path to get there, it is exciting, Jan, when you know, wow, this person's business is struggling and I can help them scale. So I think about Papa Gallo's Pizzeria in Florida. Mm-hmm. We've helped this couple grow They've opened 3 restaurants. So since I've started working with them, we've opened up restaurant 2 and 3. They've grown their business 5-fold. I think about ShawHomes.com from 14 million to 150 million. I think about companies like OxyFresh, where I've had a role in advising them. They're now up to 500 locations. Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Here's my precious metals dealer that I've worked with for years. And to watch him scale his company, that never gets old to me. It's like infinitely exciting to help someone achieve their goals. So that's really what gets me excited. And then growing up poor or without money, I'm sure there's somebody watching this who grew up more poor. But my dad was working at a gas station, working the night shift. My dad was delivering pizzas for Domino's. May he rest in peace. In his late 30s, he's in his late 30s. He's delivering pizzas. He's working at a gas station. He has a college degree from Oral Roberts University. That wasn't a reverse shout out to ORU, but that's a fact. But yet he didn't know how to financially help our family thrive. But he had the work ethic, and I appreciate him being willing to work those 2 jobs. And so whenever I talk to that new potential client, I picture it like I'm talking to a 37-year-old version of my dad. My dad's no longer with us. He passed away from Lou Gehrig's. But that's how I look at it, and I can't communicate it with enough sincerity or passion, but every person I talk to on the phone who wants to become a client or wants to come to a conference, I pretend in my mind, maybe it's not healthy, maybe it is, that's the 37-year-old version of my father, and that's what I look for. But someone who wants the hand out, no, I don't want to do that. But that person needs a hand up. That's who I try to work with.
Tell me about your background. So, you did grow up in kind of a humble situation, but you had some very interesting, pivots along the way.
Well, this is what happened. I'm a kid that stuttered. My dad's working 2 jobs, working at the gas station, Quick Trip, and working delivering pizzas. My mom's doing what she can do. And it occurred to me, and I don't remember the exact moment, Jan, but I remember that kind of era of my life, thinking to myself, we're poor. Although we don't care about money, every decision was somehow impacted based upon money. And I thought to myself, 12-year-old self, 13-year-old self, I'm going to find a way to make copious amounts of money so therefore I can focus on other things. Because for anybody who spends any amount of time with me, there's 3 things I'm always doing. I'm always writing songs, I'm always writing books, and I'm always writing business plans. So I get into that kind of stuff, but you can't afford to write songs that very few people listen to unless you have the time to do it. Mm-hmm. So I set on this quest to create time freedom and financial freedom. So out of my parents' basement, I started a company called DJ Connection. Back in the day, it was called C&G DJ Service, and it was called G because the youth pastor that mentored me, he was old enough to drive a car. See, I couldn't drive a car. And so the guy who drove me to my gigs was my youth pastor, and he lost a bet and shaved a G into his very hairy chest for some reasons I don't understand. So it was C&G DJ Service, named off of that. And then I basically started cold calling schools. I'm a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, cold calling schools saying, hi, who DJs your school dance? Who's in charge of organizing the school dance? And they would say, oh, that's the PTA, or that's the booster club, or that's the parent sponsors. And I say, hey, I'd love to DJ your school dance, and I'll do it for $1. And you can just pay me after the event what you think it's worth. Well, a lot of schools are infinitely disappointed in their disc jockeys. And so I started getting some gigs. I started doing 2 gigs a month. 3 gigs a month. I needed equipment. I was selling the gigs, but I didn't have any equipment. So I found a pothead by the name of Oswald, and I rented equipment from him. This is a true story. And I thought to myself, I probably don't want to be renting equipment from potheads. I probably need to have a more viable, this is my 14, 15-year-old mind. So I got a job working poured concrete, and I got a job working at the Norseman restaurant, and I got a job working as a home health aide. So I had 3 jobs simultaneously. That was my pro tip for getting rich quick. And I took every dime I had, and I just kept buying more speakers, more sound, more lights. The speakers I bought were called JBL TR225s, and these were like $500 a piece. And I tell you this because I was making $8 an hour. So if you're making $8 an hour, you got to work, 70 hours to buy a speaker, before taxes. So you got to work 80 hours per speaker. So I had 3 jobs. I'm working these 3 jobs. Eventually, I decided to go to college early because in Minnesota, if you have enough credits, you can go to college early. So I went to St. Cloud State, and I picked classes, graphic design, language, accounting, things that I thought would help me on my career. And then I transferred to Oral Roberts University. And at that point, I changed the name from C&G DJ Service to DJ Connection. And then over time, I started getting into weddings. And before I sold the company, we were doing 4,000 weddings a year, which is 80 weddings a weekend, by the way. So think about all the vans, the lights, the mic stands, the speaker stands, the lighting equipment, all the people, training these people. And then I started this thing called the Tulsa Bridal Association, which was a big bridal show. And I started one of the region's largest wedding photography companies called epicphotos.com. And what happened is the fathers of the bride would pull me aside and they would say, hey, I'm a dentist. Could you help me grow my business? Hey, I'm a doctor. Could you help me? Hey, I have a hardware store. Could you help me? And I won this thing called the SBA Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the state of Oklahoma. I also was the City of Tulsa Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the Chamber when I was 20, and I was the state's Entrepreneur of the Year when I was 27. And I kept winning these awards, and every time I would win awards, people would say, can I pick your brain? And I kept being asked and asked, and eventually we found ourselves with 160 clients, and that was almost 20 years ago. So I've been doing the same thing for 20 years, and I love it.
Thank you for tuning in to American Thought Leaders. In a world where spin and agendas dominate the headlines, I'm proud to bring you unfiltered insights from the brightest minds in America, from a relative outsider Canadian perspective. To keep this possible and to access even more exclusive content, in-depth documentaries, in our daily digital newspaper, consider subscribing to the Epoch Times today. It's your way to support independent journalism. Just hit the link in the description below to subscribe and unlock the full American Thought Leaders experience and so much more. You can try it today for just $1 a week. So just hit the link in the description below. And now back to the interview. And we're back with Clay Clark, business coach at thrivetimeshow.com. Tell me about the BS in business school.
Well, I primarily think that business school is primarily BS. I primarily find that business school involves talking about theories, talking about concepts, theories, and things that don't impact actually growing a company. But when you get out of business college or you start a business, you've got to learn the 4 steps to grow a company. Step 1, find a problem. Step 2, solve the problem. Step 3, sell the solution. Step 4, nail it and scale it. Because if you can't sell, your business is going to go to hell and your life will not go well. And so most people have a degree from business school, but they have no knowledge of how to actually start and grow a successful company. I call my Thrivetime show, I call it the Thrivetime Show Business School Without the BS. Because I find that so many people, my father is one of these, where, again, may he rest in peace, he went to school, he was top of his class, he graduated with great grades, but he had no concept of how to turn his goals to own a business into reality. One of the gentlemen, he came to our conference, he had terminal cancer. By the way, through the grace of God, he did not die. His name is Bob Healy, and all your listeners can go verify his story. It's grillblazer.com, grillblazer.com. He showed up at one of my conferences with a quasi-functional prototype, meaning it's a prototype that wasn't polished, for a thing called the grill gun, which is like a flamethrower for grilling. And he had never sold any. He had never had a team. He never employed people. He didn't have a website, didn't have a logo, didn't have a brand, didn't have a marketing plan, but he had a prototype. And Bob came to me and said, help me. And grillblazer.com is now a massively successful company that's becoming a household name in many American homes. He's kind of like the grill master now. And that's a guy named Bob who is battling health issues, marketing issues, branding issues, accounting issues, and Bob couldn't find financing either. We actually helped Bob raise all the money to sell the product.
Bringing back manufacturing is a centrally important feature of America being successful. Some of that is going to be small business. How many of your businesses are are manufacturing, and how can that be done in your mind?
I believe that my client portfolio is very indicative of the American entrepreneurial portfolio as a country. About 10%, I would say, ish of our portfolio has to do with manufacturing. I would tell people as a pro tip, you never want to outsource your core competency. Exporting jobs to China started under Nixon, but that's just complete jack. To outsource 95% of our essential medical supplies to countries that hate us. We have these essential metals, these essential elements needed to make car batteries, to make cars. And we have outsourced that to the point where the majority of the countries that hate us are the ones who are procuring these essential elements needed to make manufacturing possible. So America needs to do, I know you recently interviewed Eric Trump, and Eric talked about this. We've got to bring manufacturing back to America. We've got to do it. And so anybody out there that has that dream to make jeans in America, make a tie in America, make shirts in America, make shoes in America, make clothing in America. I encourage everybody really seize this opportunity under the Trump administration and find a way to bring manufacturing back to these United States. We saw it happen a little bit under President Trump and Dr. Ben Carson. We saw an urban renewal. Dr. Carson was instrumental in bringing investments into urban development areas that basically the world had given up on. And they brought in great restaurants and nightlife and entertainment, and they rejuvenated, they put life and investment capital into these abandoned buildings and revitalized a lot of downtowns. I know we can do the same thing with manufacturing. So if you're watching today's show and you have the ability to reinvigorate manufacturing in America, I would encourage you to do so. And I don't speak for the Trump administration, but I know they are really wanting to team up with and support and to breathe life into entrepreneurs that want to bring manufacturing back into these United States.
There's this idea that a country can't be successful without this core element of manufacturing. There's this philosophy, right? Do you subscribe to this? That the bulk of manufacturing has to be within a country for it to even be successful ultimately. It can't be service oriented. It can't be.
I'm working with a client in Wisconsin who has a home remodeling company, okay? And he actually does beautiful home remodeling. He does great work. Well, he's not outsourcing the manufacturing and the remodeling of a house to somebody who can do the work because he can't. He does the work himself. Therefore, when he talks to, in this fictitious example, he talks to the Thompsons, and the Thompsons say, you know what? I want the pool table to go here. I want the lighting to go here. I want to move this to create this ambiance. This client who I actually work with in Wisconsin, he's able to get in there, get in the conversation with the client, and rearrange the building plan to accommodate the client's needs. He can do that. But if he was outsourcing that to a third world country or a second world country or some country not here, it would be very hard to make those real-time modifications. So my client, yes, he's a home remodeler, but I would argue he's almost a plumber. He's almost an electrician. He's almost a designer. He's almost a sales guru. He's almost a manager. He's almost an accountant. He's wearing a lot of hats. And this is what you call a polymath, okay? And a lot of the founding fathers were polymaths. I challenge anybody out there to look up the life of Benjamin Franklin and tell me what career he was in. Thomas Jefferson, what career? Look up George Washington, what career? What career were these people? Were they politicians? Were they military leaders? Were they entrepreneurs? I would say a lot of our founding fathers were all of these skill sets. And I think it's a good idea to be resourceful. Now what happens is when we outsource our core competency to countries that hate us, by the way, what does that even do? I mean, I don't even understand how that's a sustainable idea. To make some of the cutting edge military technology that America's military now uses, we have to import certain technology from countries that hate us to make military weapons to defend us. That doesn't even make sense. Think about that. If you go, let's go back to the time of kings and queens and castles, and imagine that you are a king trying to protect your castle, and you have to get behind your castle walls and yell out on your castle, megaphone, "Excuse me, enemy, could you please ship us spears? We are trying to protect ourselves." And
from you.
Yeah, from you.
Right.
And then the hostile enemy says, "Sure, how many spears do you need?" I mean, just the the duality, the mental gymnastics I have to go through to understand how outsourcing our core components, our core resources, our core manufacturing to countries that hate us, I just can't do it. Also, the CCP, they are not a competition, they are an enemy. The Chinese Communist Party does forced organ harvesting. The Chinese Communist Party has no problem with sending people to re-education camps. The Chinese Communist Party is not somebody that we should be working with. You do not want to be investing heavily into a country that has a ideological hatred towards your worldview and who has psychopathic tendencies. It's just not a good idea.
There's this term that's often used, whole of society, right? And that can mean different things. Whole of society could mean, like in communist China, where the Communist Party, the supremacy of the party is complete, and the party dictates what happens on down, and the whole of society has to follow because that's how it works. But whole of society can also mean something else. It could also mean bottom up, right? Which means, people basically working together, getting inspired to do, start their small business, be entrepreneurial, come up with new ideas, come up with new manufacturing concepts, theories, and actually just get down and do the hard work of, raising, what is it? The rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so, as we finish up, let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, years ago, there was a gentleman who personifies the American dream. His name's Kevin Thomas. Everyone can look him up. His company is called MultiClean. Everyone can look him up. I think it's multicleanok.com. And Kevin made a profound statement. He said that if he could have just 5 employees, that would be success. You say, well, what does Kevin do? It's a janitorial service. You'd say, well, what does a janitorial service do? He cleans commercial buildings. And Kevin made that profound statement. If I could just have 5 employees, that would be success. And at the last conference, somebody put their hand up and they said, well, Kevin, you're having a lot of success. How many employees do you have now? And he says, just a hair over 350. Think about that for a second. So this guy, Kevin Thomas, had a goal to have just 5 employees. He thought entrepreneurship wasn't quite for him, that maybe he didn't have the education, he didn't have the marketing background, he didn't have the accounting, he didn't have the skills. But what he did is he went on over to thrivetimeshow.com, that's where I live, thrivetimeshow.com, and he went there and said, you know what, I'm going to fill out the form, and I'm going to schedule a call with this crazy guy, and we'll just see what happens. He has 350 employees. He's one of the most successful people in his town. And I share that story because everybody out there, you can become successful. And when you are, money's a magnifier, good and bad, by the way. So money allows you to be more of who you are. So if you're a generous person who loves to donate and celebrate and tithe to your local church or community or your outreach, you can give more. Money allows you to be more, to give more, it allows you to just magnify who you are. And so if you're watching this show and you're kind of in the mind space where my 37-year-old father was, where he was delivering pizzas at Domino's Pizza, which, again, great company. We're appreciative for that opportunity. He was working at Quick Trip gas stations, and we appreciate that opportunity too. He's working the night shift, and I have not an ounce of resentment that my father was working the night shift during my years growing up. I respect him for doing it. But if you feel like, man, success has passed me by, Kevin was a guy, in his early 40s who's having these thoughts, and now he's profoundly successful. Clay Stairs, who's now an Oklahoma state representative, he started his entrepreneurial path when he was 47 years old, and now he's super successful. Bob Healy had terminal cancer and was in his early 60s, and now Grill Blazer is booming. I can list off examples all day, but everybody out there, if you have the mental capacity and tenacity to listen to today's interview, I promise you have what it takes to do it as an entrepreneur.
Well, Clay Clark, it's such a pleasure to have had you on.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining Clay Clark and me on this episode of American Thought Leaders. I'm your host, Jan Jekielek.
Folks, if you're watching today's show, on part 1, I'm sure you learned a lot about how to grow a business. But on part 2 of today's show, I want to talk to you about how to save money. Because when you run a company, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And here to talk about it is Tyler Carson. Tyler Carson is the man, the myth, the legend behind Integrated Payment Services. Tyler, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Clay. Thanks for having me.
So let's sort a myth, fact from fiction here. What exactly do you do at Integrated Payment Services?
Well, I mean, from a 30,000-foot view, we set businesses up to accept credit card as a form of payment.
And so if I am a business owner, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, somebody watching this show, I have found that over the years, you've been able to help our clients save, and I'll pull it up on the screen here. Our average client is able to save almost $3,000 or more simply by filling out the form and comparing rates with you. And it seems unbelievable. It seems like it's not possible, but you do it time and time again. So we go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card. How is it that you're able to save our average client $3,000 or more simply by comparing rates? How is that possible? I would think that every credit card company would want to earn everyone's business, but you guys consistently beat the heck out of everybody's pricing. How is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible just through my business partner and I from day one have said that we're going to price people as low as we possibly can with no contracts. Like you've said before, like everything with us is month to month as well. So not only are you going to get the best rates out there, but we're never going to hold you to some contract, with some crazy cancellation fee and never let you leave.
So thing number one is you guys have a benefit. Number one, you guys can beat any competitor's price. Second thing that you do at thrivetimeshow.com/credit dash card, I've seen you do it time and time again, is again, your month to month, as you mentioned, there's no contract. Talk about your philosophy of why you've decided to be the no contract month to month credit card processing service.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got into this industry, I would talk to friends, family, or other people, and they would be like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's move over." And then we would start digging into their contracts, and they would have these crazy, $500,000, $1,500 cancellation fees that they couldn't get out of. Um, or, if they did leave, they got and then they would get these, huge fees. And so for us, it's, that's, we don't want to leave that as the last taste in your mouth. If you do need to go somewhere else, or you do want to go use someone else, and we want to be proving ourselves to our customers month over month. So we want to be, we don't want to get you locked into some contract and then just disappear and go, well, you can't leave because we got you locked into a contract.
Let's talk a little bit more about this contract thing. When people go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit card, people are leery of and are concerned about a contract, which you don't rope them into. But what do you do? Like, what does that process look like? Step one, step two, step three. If somebody does go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit dash card, maybe you can walk us through maybe a recent a client or an example of somebody that reached out that you were able to help save money there, or what that process looks like.
Sure. So the way the process looks, I mean, we if they come to the website, we immediately get a notification. We'll reach out, myself, someone else on the team, and then we just kind of have an introductory call and learn more about your business, how you process, if there's ways that you wish you could process. We have you send us a little bit of information, regarding your kind of your current fees and things of that nature. We put together a full proposal, and then if they're ready to move forward, we send them a electronic signature DocuSign from start to finish. The whole process takes about 20 minutes.
20 minutes, and you can save people an average of $3,000 a year or more is what I've found. Have you been able to save somebody recently more than $3,000 a year? Have you seen that recently?
We did. We saved we saved a law firm $25,000 a year about a month ago.
25,000 a year, a law firm, just off credit card fees.
Yes.
I mean, I'll tell you this, folks. Let me just tell you this final story here. When I work with some people, last night I went out to dinner with Dr. Robert Zellner, longtime partner, client friend of mine, and I went out to dinner with him, and I ran into two people that I knew. One, I was very excited to see. One person, I saw them and I said, "Hey, great to see you." And I wanted to say hi to them because they're a good guy doing business the right way. I've known them for years, and I wanted to say hello. Another person was a shyster, a screwball. In Minnesota, you might call them a hoser, don't you know? A hoser. This is the kind of person that is always scamming, scheming, whatever. And I did not want to see them because why? They screw people over in business. When I ran into Tyler at a football game, I thought to myself, I want to see that guy. I want to say hi to that guy. And I'll tell you why. Because you are the credit card king. I told my kids when you walked away after we said hello to your wonderful family, I told my kids, I said, that right there is the credit card king. That's God's gift to credit card processing. That man has saved us a lot of money. That guy I'm not kidding. The savings alone that we've experienced with our companies with you has paid for many family vacations. And I sincerely appreciate you for your diligence, your attention to detail, your customer service, your responsiveness whenever there's an issue. And again, just thank you so much for being on the Thrive Time Show. I'll give you the final word. Why should everybody look at doing business with you and your wonderful company there, sir?
They should look at doing business with us because we care, and we're gonna promise to take care of them. We're based right here in the U.S. We always answer our phone. You can call us anytime. I do have one more thing though. I usually don't, call out other processors, but Global and Heartland Payments has a new fee coming in October $529 that they're just going to bill their customers. So if you're listening and you use Heartland or Global, you should give us a call because we don't have that annual fee.
That's a real thing. And you know about this because this is what you track. This is where you put attention to. I really do, Tyler Carson, appreciate your time, your energy, and I look forward to having you on the show here next week.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is. He is.
He has such a wealth of knowledge. He's worked with so many different companies and different businesses. He could take a concept that he's used before in the past with somebody totally different industry and see how it would work perfectly for you in whatever niche market you're in or whatever type of service you're providing. And so his brain is just a wealth of knowledge, and just to have that type of perspective on, as a part of your team and your own company is huge, super valuable. So I would definitely encourage people to use him. But one thing is, you got to be coachable. You got to be wanting to get feedback. You got to be wanting to really grow your company. You got to want to put that extra 10 hours a week to working on your business and not just in your business. And so, yes, I would recommend it to anybody who's wanting to grow their company and provide great systems, checklists, workflows, great encouragement, and have accountability.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing, and Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D. Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships. But one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things, the processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
Are you looking to start or grow a super successful business? Join Eric Trump, the New York Times best-selling author of The Carnivore Diet, Sean Baker. Join hundreds of real business owner client success stories at the highest-rated business conference in America. Join Mel K, Julie Green, Amanda Grace, Pastor Dave Scarlett, and myself in Tulsa, Oklahoma, November 5th and 6th. attend the most real, the most authentic, the highest rated, and most reviewed Ultimate Business Growth Workshop. During this 2-day interactive business workshop, you're going to learn everything you need to know to make your business grow. Learn how to generate more sales. Learn how to produce additional high-quality inbound leads. Learn how to create repeatable systems. Learn how to build a successful business. And learn how to do it now. If you've ever wanted to learn how to start and grow a super successful company, this is the event for you. At our 2-day interactive business workshop, we will teach you specifically every step that you need to take to start and grow a super successful company. We will teach you specifically how to get to the top of the Google search engine results, how to dominate artificial intelligence search results, how to market via social media, how to generate more leads, and how to get in front of your ideal and likely buyers. We're going to teach you the step-by-step processes that you need to learn in order to hire, inspire, train, and retain high-quality employees and teammates. We're going to teach you specifically what you need to learn to manage a team of people. We're going to teach you how to manage your finances, how to look at the numbers, and to figure out the specific steps that you need to take to create a time freedom and financial freedom producing business. At the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, we've been teaching entrepreneurs everything they need to know to start and grow a successful company since 2005. In fact, at our 2-day interactive business workshops, we're going to teach you marketing, systems and scaling, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, search engine optimization, sales training, financial management, and so much more. You can learn more and request tickets today simply by going to thrivetimeshow.com. Yes, you can request tickets today simply by going to thrivetimeshow.com. That's the website. Join Eric Trump, myself, and Team America live and in person at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, November 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown 5 times. I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement.
Okay, Aaron Antis, November 5th and 6th. Guess who's coming back to Tulsa? I will give you a hint. His first name is Eric, and his last name is Trump. Whoa. And his father is the 47th president of these United States. Yes, Eric Trump is joining us once again here September 25th and 26th in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. But Eric Trump is bringing friends. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Grace will be in the place. Dr. Stella Emanuel will be here in T-Town in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Julie Green will be on the scene. Mel K will be here to say hey. Dave Scarlett from the His Glory team will be here. It's going to be a blasty blast right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you want to start or grow a super successful company, if you want to make your wallet great again or make your wallet great for the first time, if you want to learn marketing, systems, scaling, human resources, accounting, social media, branding, search engine optimization, sales training, financial management, and more, get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I've definitely learned a lot about life design and making sure the business serves you. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. We have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls, figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. Like literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side. Clay is hilarious. I literally laughed so hard that I started having tears yesterday. And we've been learning a lot, which, you know, we've been sitting here, we've been learning a lot, and so the humor definitely helps. It breaks it up. But the content is awesome, off the charts, and it's very interactive. You can raise your hand. It's not like you're just listening to the professor speak, you know. The wizard teaches, but the wizard interacts and he takes questions, so that's awesome. If you're not attending the conference, you're missing about 3/4 to half of your life. You're definitely, it's probably worth a couple $1,000s. So you're missing the thought process of someone that's already started like 9 profitable businesses. So not only is it a lot of good information, but just getting in the thought.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Well, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States, he needed a competent man to run and execute his business plans. Showtime! So the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. So Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint. Right. I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last, pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that, is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 718 people. 718 people. And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what, we should probably add on. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years, so let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah, we're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard. And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. This is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis. There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
I should write that down and actually do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and petting it.
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet.
I was looking to learn how to take my business, like they've said today, from being very successful to being systematic. I've got a very successful practice in 3 different cities, make good money, just want to take it to the next level with systems and processes to where I can drive my cars more.
Paul Hood.
I've been a CPA for 33 years.
And what kind of growth have you and your great team had here over the past, let's say, 5-6 years?
For the last 5, when I met you 5 years ago, we were doing 3 million. This year we'll do 24 million.
Whoa. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma. And nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns what do you call that? The rental,
storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Thomas Crossan, owner and founder of Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas. I've been a coaching client with Clay Clark since the beginning of our business. We started about a year ago, August of last year. I had no clients, no idea what we were doing, no clue really what was going on. And now we've grown to where we've got 6 photographers, we've got office space here. I have an admin, sales person that works for us full time, developing an online system, and a lot of that growth we attribute to Clay helping us. And there's so many things that his stuff is not revolutionary. It's not this crazy walk on hot coals and all this stuff. It's just real stuff.
It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you this will be 10 times better than that.
Whoa. It's like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. It is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right, really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What kind of growth have you had since you and I have been working together over these past few years?
3.45 million. I got those stats before I got on here.
So you've grown by 3.45 million.
Yeah, 3,450,000.
Would that be like if you took the combined revenue and maybe doubled it? Have we gone up by
about almost 3, not quite.